Hey, beautiful souls. Welcome back or welcome to The Hawk and My name is Lana Zelinsky, and I work in the spirit dimensions. As always, in all my videos or on my live feed, simply take what resonates, and you're welcome to leave the rest right here. Well, here we are. Happy October. How do we get here so fast? Time is just like moving and moving and moving. Beautiful October morning here in Kitchener, Ontario. I did have a wonderful weekend. Hi there. Come on in, everybody. Welcome. It's good to see you. Happy Monday and happy October. It's a beautiful time of year. The fall is just so incredibly glorious in my personal opinion. I'm a big fall person, so I am enjoying every moment. I managed to get down on the beach this weekend. It was absolutely wonderful to sit by the water. The water itself was chilly, but the beautiful sun was absolutely incredible, and the sound of the waves just kind of recharged my batteries and just kind of did my own little bit of releasing by the water because it's a powerful element, and I highly connect there. I spent quite a bit of time with spirit this weekend as well, just kind of sitting in the power, sitting in that energy, and doing a lot of channeling. And wow, we've got some incredible things coming up. I went to the beach too on Saturday. It was my birthday. Well, happy birthday, and I'm glad you got to enjoy it by the beach. Um, I'm sure you're all aware as the seasons change, our days are limited in that aspect, depending on where you are in the world. Dee Dee, just wanted to let you know, Mom passed Saturday morning. We're both in a better place. Maybe the full moon energy helps her make her transition. We are sending you so much love and light, Miss Dee Dee. I know it's been a long road, and I hope you know how loved and supported you are. So what did Spirit chit chat with me about this first week of October? It was a beautiful space as always to sit in. I say that every time because I feel like acknowledging it with words just isn't enough. It's a glorious space to sit in the power. So where are we this week? This week has a unique stillness to it energetically. There was a big reference with nurturing ourselves and letting a lot of pieces land where they need to land. I kind of felt like I was kind of like I just landed. I just landed here is kind of how it felt. And some of you may be kind of feeling that in many different ways, as in lack of direction or not sure what I'm doing with myself, or perhaps just a little bit of it may come through as laziness. You don't be too hard on yourself if that's how it's coming through. It's just a space of coming into land this week because we've got a lot of things that are going to be moving around and kind of processing as we navigate through October. Because when I leaned into a little bit more about October, there's some big shifts coming this month, I feel, and we'll navigate through that as the month passes by. The other thing that really popped up for me is you may find this week a great week to get things off your chest. And I kind of chuckle because that's how kind of spirit gave it to me, was with a bit of a chuckle. It's a good week to come to that heart space and just simply expressing how you're feeling, whether that be to yourself or to other people, or getting those things off your chest. Perhaps you're already feeling a little bit of that coming through, where I just need to say this. And as always, coming to our heart space really helps how other people receive what we need to get off of our chest. So as you navigate through that this week, just kind of remember that I said it, that you may feel the need to speak on things that you've never spoke of before. It was really interesting because on my live on Friday, that was I thought about that later in reflection. Actually, I was like, I did that on Friday. I just kind of came on here and just said what I felt and said how spirit was giving it to me. New levels of who you are coming in this week as well, and I think that's part of these whole settling piece. With as we settle, with as we kind of land into this new space that we are in, many of us are in this new space energetically. It may be coming through as just an energy awareness about yourself, that you've done some healing work, that you've done some processing, that you're kind of ready for the next step. There's this new levels of who you are coming up, and that may also come up in different ways, where you're aware that certain friendships have gone in different directions and that have moved on, and that you're aware of what needs to kind of flow through you, and you're also aware that you're handling things different. So I'm curious if some of you are noticing that, where you're just kind of going to that higher place of perspective, and sure, you all of you, so nurture your empathic abilities in a healthy way. And so as we kind of navigate through new levels of who we are, you probably maybe feeling that empathic towards, people in your world, or people collectively, or what's going on, maybe striking you in the empathic space within you. As we grow, and there's been an interesting thing collectively going on energetically as well. There has been a lot of spiritual growth. There has been a lot of things shifting, and as we kind of settle into these new versions of who we are, and we're always changing and evolving too, but I just felt more of the spiritual level that we're kind of tapping into a little bit deeper and deeper. So as you're empathic, and if empathic abilities is new to you, just take an extra bit of a note here. Make sure that you are recharging who you are. Sometimes when we feel for other people, or when we feel for the collective, so it can be a little bit draining. So if these increased in empathy is popping up for you, make sure that you're recharging. Make sure that you're nurturing yourself. It's amazing to help people, but there's also that reminder to you also have to nurture and help yourself, and to turn some of that empathic abilities in softening yourself. And be that also has, because the card came back to me. So when spirit gives me the card, it's like back to you, back also with you, and we come back to you, and make sure that you're managing that as well. Because as we kind of shift, and as we kind of, and I'll use the word as spirit gave me, rebirth, we're coming into these new spaces. There's also a blend with that, with other people's stuff as well. And there's also a blend with learning how to move forward from, from the past, or who other versions of who we are. And a lot of people struggle with that sometimes, with understanding that old versions of you brought you lessons, brought you great things, brought you some growth. And it's okay to step out of that and move forward. Sometimes we struggle with that a little bit. And a little bit of the imposter syndrome will often step in there with, yeah, but you did that and that didn't go very well for you. Yeah, but you did that and that didn't go very well for you. Allow yourself to stand in that new space of, yeah, that was my learning, and that was my lessons, and that's how I need to go forward. There's a lot of transformation that's being put forward to us, opportunities to transform. And sometimes that transformation does bring in some upheaval. If we are transforming into different types of relationships, or if we're transforming into new ways of being, it can kind of stir up a little bit of that. So just allow yourself to shift into a bit of a different mindset. If that whole, yeah, but you did this back then, or yeah, but you did this back then, like, just kind of give yourself that space, and just kind of give yourself that mothering love, that mother nature love within you, to hold yourself in that. One thing that keeps coming up over and over again is our challenges here in the physical world. We are here to learn, and we are here to grow, and that's the kind of the momentum and the thought process that we need to kind of navigate through. This week I feel is going to be quite, like I said, that quieting space. You may feel like you just need to rest, or to recharge, or to slow down this week, but I feel a big part of that is because of what's coming. There are two fairly significant eclipses this month that is going to bring through a lot of leaps and a lot of quantum jumps, a lot of big energies coming in October. So enjoy the space that you're in with this. I'm just going to chill out this week, because I think we are preparing for some leaps energetically. And I say that, transformation and energy and change, brings us so much. I also feel there's something about October that is very abundant for me. There, like for all of us energetically, there seems to be this abundant energy coming in. I can just feel it. I don't know if anybody else is feeling that. Like, the good things are coming. Good things are moving through here, and we just got to kind of make sure that we're open to receive that. I hope that resonates there with all of you, or with some of you, or even just one of you. Anyway, that is how I felt this week. Give yourself the chance to enjoy perhaps a quieter week energetically, or a little bit of stillness. Diane Quinn, yes, it does. All right. I have to be mindful of the time this morning, because I am working. So let's just see here where we go. Um, some lack of sleep there. Yeah, sleep has been a little bit rough since that with that full moon energy that we just kind of worked through over the weekend. A lot of full moon energy can affect people in the either one way, either not sleeping, or in the other way with with feeling the need to rest and to sleep. Let's see where we are here. Mandy went to her first drumming circle, releasing into the fire. Oh, I love that, Mandy. Drumming circles are extremely powerful. I love attending them, and I try to get to as many as I can. So good for you. Happy birthday to Pure Frog. I love that so much. Where are we here? Chin, this resonates a lot with you, eh? Well, I'm grateful that some of this is hitting there for you, Camilla. My dear cat passed around this time in 2020. I'm wondering if he is okay. I felt him visit me a while after he passed, but nothing after that. So Camilla, I'm just going to tap into that as a collective question. So number one, our loved ones, including our deceased fur babies, they are always okay. They're always okay, and they are always around us. Now, when they first pass, and this is kind of one thing that comes up a lot. People will ask me, "Well, I felt them a lot when they first passed, and now I'm kind of like not feeling them as often." When we lose someone that we love, when they first pass, they send that energy in very strong because spirit, as much as they understand, they don't understand in ways, is they're trying to help us work through that grief. So we feel them a lot more because we're in such a heavy grief space, right? So they give us a lot more signs when they first pass. I'm okay, I'm here, I'm around you. And as time goes by, and our grief does change. I think that it's always there. When we lose someone, we do lose a piece of ourselves, goes back to the spirit dimensions with our loved ones. And it's not that they step back, it's that we tend, because we're growing through our grief, we tend not to feel that consoling energy as much, but they're also moving on and moving forward with their own healing and work in the spirit dimensions. And it becomes more of a support. They're helping us and they're guiding us. And as our grief kind of softens a little bit, we don't feel that same connection as far as that consoling, right? I hope that makes sense there to you, to all of you. So it's not that they don't step back; it's just that the need to console is a little bit less and a little bit less. And then, and you will notice with your loved ones in the spirit dimensions, when you go through things that are very heavy in the physical world, if you're going through some change or some hard times, that's kind of when you start to see all these signs, right? They're just letting you know they haven't gone anywhere, that they're still here, that they're still supporting you, and they are cheering for us as we navigate through our physical world lessons and learning. So I hope that helps explain a little bit of that. I felt like it was a twilight zone, but definitely more grounded now. Lots off my chest with my brother. There you go, Didi. When we kind of get things off our chest, it does bring us into that lighter space, and it does give us a lot of healing to be able to say, I shared how I felt. I shared my perspective. And, whether or not people pick it up, that's not on you. That's a big one. Well, they didn't, people didn't take what I said to heart. Well, that's okay. How they receive it and if they pick it up is totally not yours. We know that whole thing of yours or not yours perspective, right? Aaron, I have a psychiatric evaluation on Wednesday. Hopefully I can express myself and get some things off my chest. Aaron, if you don't already, lean into journaling a little bit, even before you go, because sometimes when we're put on the spot, and that's the thing, you ever been put on the spot? It's like, why didn't I say that? Why, it comes to you later. It's the whole processing space. So if you can journal a few things up, you may find that very, very helpful to just journal some points of things that you might want to share, so that you can go deeper during your assessment there. A lot of resonating here. I'm really glad a lot of this is resonating. Um, Good morning, Lana. What do my spirit guides want me to know from Gallus Universe? Um, I really feel when I lean into there with your energy, I feel like I've got to applaud you for your expansion. There's I just I can just I can hear the clapping. There's this expansion that's just kind of like growing and growing and growing. And I don't know if a big part of you was closed at some point, but there seems to be like this cracking open of all this love and light and growth and rebirth and all these excitement around new beginnings that's around you. There's a lot of shifts that are occurring. Like most of us, there's a lot going on in little bits and pieces and particles in your experience. But I feel like I've got to like they want to acknowledge that growth space. And perhaps you don't spend enough time acknowledging yourself a little bit, but I feel like I've got to acknowledge. I keep hearing that word over and over, acknowledging the pieces that have grown, acknowledging the crack open, that you have done a lot of work on yourself, within yourself, with this whole growth and space that you're kind of navigating through. I also feel that there's a lot more of that. I feel like 2024, I can just feel you gaining momentum. You know, when you're on a treadmill and you're like you're either walking or running on a treadmill, and technically you're not getting anywhere, but when you look at the screen, you can see that the accumulation of steps or miles or kilometers is progressing. They're showing me that. That's kind of an interesting thing Spirit's doing. I don't think they've ever shown me something like that before, where you may feel like you're not going anywhere, like you're on that treadmill not going anywhere, but the steps that you're taking are accumulating. So it's almost like you may not always see the steps or see the progress, but it's time for you to spend a little bit more time acknowledging that. I love how Spirit just showed me that. That's kind of cool. Let's see what we need to go here. TJ, my friend is waiting results about stomach issues. Her intuition says cancer. Will she come out of this okay? She's very intuitive, so I'm concerned. PJ, I also feel like that health caution. So whenever somebody asks me questions about health, I usually get a color. It's usually yellow for my caution sign. So I do feel some caution there with your friend, but I also feel though there's concern, but I'm not worried, if that makes sense. It's like there's like yes, there's going to be a journey, and yes, there's going to be a process, but I don't feel worried with it. I also feel a lot of inner strength there. I also feel a lot of mindset stuff with there, but I don't feel terrible with it. Now I know you know this, PJ, because you've been on my channel, for a fair bit over the last year or so. I'm not a physician. I can, I can just feel it energetically from me. I do feel like there's some health stuff that she's gonna go through. I just don't feel horrible with it, if that makes sense there to you. Mandy, I have a big decision and wondering if spirit guides may have guidance with this huge decision. I'm feeling heavy with this, like I'm not seeing the bigger picture. So Mandy, what I would like you to do, is I'd like you to go to a place that's elevated. So is there like a hill or maybe like a short little mountain hike? It doesn't have to be the a great big mountain, but I feel like I've got to kind of get you up. So even like a small hill, you go for a ride and find a small hill where you're kind of like looking down over your town or your community. And I feel like I've got to give you kind of like the bird's eye view. And one thing that I feel really strong here, Mandy, is I feel this push to bring you back into your own gut, your own spidey sense, your own intuition, that your own space. I feel that you're going to navigate through this quite well, but I feel like in order for you to see the big picture, I need to get you elevated. So go and sit somewhere where it's a little bit higher so you have a higher perspective, and that way you'll be able to look down and more into that bird's eye view and more into that whole picture place, because I feel like that knowing is there, and I just feel like you're holding it out a little bit. I also feel, Mandy, that with big decisions, I have to kind of give, and I get it. I get it. Nobody wants to go make the wrong one, but I really feel that I've got to get you into that trust fall space. So just kind of allowing that. This is what I feel the direction I'm going to go in. I'm going to go through the experience with just a bit of a shift in the mindset with it. And even with myself, spirit doesn't tell me everything that I need to know. Spirit will tell me or show me a direction, but I may not get like, all the answers, even for myself. I'll say, well, what do I do? And spirit will say, well, we're going to hold you while you figure it out. And that's one thing that we need to kind of lean in to a little bit more is, yes, we nobody wants to go through, those rough patches, but it's how we go through them. And spirit has gone over and over and over with that with me. And, because I've said to myself, I've said to spirit, like, why didn't you tell me that was going to happen? And spirit's like, you needed to experience that. We were with you. We held you up. You had where do you think the knowledge and that strength came from to navigate through it? But that was something that you needed to learn here in the physical world. And sometimes we lose perspective of that because we're so afraid of mistakes. We're so afraid of judgment. And sometimes we judge ourselves. Mandy, get yourself to the higher perspective. Just go to a mountaintop or a high hill or something that's elevated so that you can kind of look down, and you will feel the pull. You will feel the pull, Mandy. So cool how you see colors like that. Yeah, Tin. So when it comes to with what spirit works, how spirit works with me, I'll often, I have my own spirit dictionary, so certain colors mean certain things, certain signs mean certain things, and sometimes it's just very much chitter chatter. I just kind of know things, but I will say to spirit, show me, and I'll get the color, especially with the medical mediumship part that I do. If I'm doing like a medical scan and spirit will show me a color of concern, I just learned to trust that. It is quite cool. It is quite cool. Mandy, you're very welcome. um Jolene Quinn, are there any messages for me today, Lana? I'm really pulled to lean into the spirit animal book for you today. So this is for Jolene. Let's see what she needs to know here. And we are on the cheetah. Things will speed up for a while, but be assured that you will move gracefully through this cycle. Increase your flexibility by daily stretching, perhaps even taking regular yoga classes for the next few months. You must respond without hesitation to the opportunity that has recently presented itself. Don't get caught up in the trap of rigid thinking and acting, but instead remain flexible and willing to change course quickly as the situation demands. Very interesting message there for you. Thank you, Lana. Is it possible for certain medium to clearly see spirits like they see humans? If so, how do they tell them apart? Um, that is a great question. So I do see, not all the time, but quite regularly, I will see spirit in full form. Sometimes I'll just see a head, sometimes I'll just see a hand, sometimes I'll see just a silhouette. But when I do, and I'll just speak for myself, but when I do see spirit, for the most part, there's a very distinct feeling. The energy feels very different. It just has more, what's the best way of explaining it? It has a purity, it has an angelic energy. It feels very much like a little, like I'm sitting next to a piece of heaven. Technically I am. There have been the odd occasion though, and I think I talked about this in one of my videos. Where spirit had taken a form of a human. It happens quite a bit, very randomly, and often when I'm around the homeless population. I have had an angel come to me that was in the form of a human with a message for me. And I didn't realize it was an angel until, like, literally I turned around and that person had vanished. So it was one of the most profound experiences I've ever had. But for the most part, they look very different because spirit doesn't have a physical body. So we're energetic beings, right? So the soul doesn't have a physical body, and it takes a lot of energy for a spirit to show me. That's why sometimes I'll only see a little portion, because it takes so much energy. It takes energy for me to rise my vibration, so I also have to be in kind of like a little bit of higher space, and then spirit kind of meets me in that and will show me. And it's usually very quick. It's not usually like for an hour or anything like that. It's usually very quick. And that's why quite often I'll just get like quick glimpses. People will get like a quick glimpse. But for me, they usually don't show themselves in like solid human form. So there is a difference. I hope you're doing great, Lana, today. What do you have any messages from me? Mel, I feel, and I'm gonna say this really lovingly. Now, I feel like I've just gotta straighten your crown, and get your shoulders back. I don't know if you've been hard on yourself or if there's just been this, I feel like you're confident, but I feel like I just need to don't forget how awesome you are, and just kind of straighten that. And I feel like I don't feel it like heavy, heavy. I just feel like you need that today. No, you're good. You got this. You're good. I also feel that there's something with I don't know why I got to get your shoulders back. So I've got to get you like straightened. I'm not quite sure why, mouths, but I feel like perhaps you've been feeling a little sluggish, or perhaps you've been feeling a little bit out of alignment. I just feel like I've got to get you back proud. Loud and proud is what they're saying there. I hope that resonates there. Diane, my husband saw the same thing one night and knew right away it was his dad. Does he have any messages for my husband? I feel like and I feel like your husband may know this already. 'Cause I feel like there was this I just felt like there was this knowing between the two of them. I feel like he knows that his dad is proud of him, that his dad loves him, but I feel like his dad is showing support in a different way than what he did when he was in the physical world. So I feel like he's supporting him very different energetically from the spirit dimensions, and he's trying to relay that I'm supporting you through. I'm supporting you through, and it may be, sometimes we don't get a whole lot of perspective when we're here on how we're supporting people, but it's like he has a different perspective from the spirit dimensions on how to support your husband. So he's just letting him know that I'm supporting you. I'm here. I'm here for you. I hope that makes sense there. I was putting on makeup Saturday, and a flash of my dad in a hospital flashed up when he was getting his last rites read to him, and his reaction to this moment very mind-boggling. Spirit will send you images like that. Spirit will send you, and sometimes, and I think one thing we have to remember is every single spirit communicates differently with every single person, right? So it's just very different. They may send you a quick flash. They may send you a quick memory. They may send you this knowing. They may send you a smell. They may send you an outline or an image. And I think quite often when we least expect it, because we're not overthinking, right? That's why so many people see spirit at night, or as they're waking up, they'll see the silhouette of someone by their bed, or when they're doing something completely distracted. Now, that this is very important to note, because October is a very there is an increase in spirit activity in October, and that is mainly because most of us, some of us are a little more open to it with the whole Halloween piece, right? So when we're distracted, and that's how when I channel. So when I'm channeling, I have absolutely nothing in my head. I am thinking, there is no thought process there whatsoever, because if I'm thinking, I can't hear spirit. If I'm thinking, I may not necessarily see spirit. So and that's the power of meditation, being able to quiet your mind. So when you have seen spirit, most likely it was when you least expected it, or when you were just waking up or just falling asleep, when that mind is quiet. So we're not blocking the spirit dimensions. The spirit dimensions are here all the time, back and forth. Like they're multidimensional, so they don't have that physical body, or limitations, or the whole thought process of real or not real, right? So that's a big one. I hope that makes sense there. I know there's quite a few questions here that I haven't gotten to. I'll do my best to get a few more. Mel, I can relate with that. So Mel, well, it's been quite stressful lately, and I know that I can be quite hard on myself, as I often feel like I'm not doing enough. That resonates there with you, doesn't it? So, Mel, when you're navigating, this can be something, a little tip and trick that you can do, or for all of us, that we can do. To help us through that is when we're feeling stressed, and if it's straightening up, that you can use your aura. It doesn't have to be a crown, but you can use whatever resonates with you. You can fix your spiritual suit jacket. I'll often do that. I'll fix my spiritual suit jacket, but just kind of, I'm going to straighten up. I got this. I'm going to straighten that. I'm going to adjust my energy, and I'm going to stand loud and proud. I've got this. Just that little piece of that, Mel. I think that you'll be able to use that to help us navigate through. There's stress happens, life happens, gong show happens. It's how we navigate through it that really matters, right? And that kind of helps. Why would spirit send me bad images? For example, my dog had to be put down due to neurological problems. She had seizures a lot at the end. Why would spirit send me images of her seizing? Okay, so few reasons for that. So one thing that spirit will do is, and I'll use me as an example here as I answer that question for you, Deanna, is when I'm channeling spirit, especially a deceased loved one, if you're coming for me for a reason, and I'm channeling a deceased loved one, they will often show me how they passed. They will often show me something very significant, so that you know that they're there. And and that's, they don't mean it to be in a bad way, but what they're essentially doing is saying it's 100% me. So she's saying, because she's showing you how she passed, it's 100% me. So once you acknowledge that, yes, and whatever her name is, I know that you're here and thank you so much for coming. She will probably show you less of that image or not that image at all. You may start getting different images, but they will send us validation because we're human and we overthink everything. It's not enough that they just show up. We overthink everything. So they start to show us things that we know, oh yeah, that's how you passed. Now I know you're here. They work relentlessly hard, and sometimes we may not catch the light stuff, or we may overthink the light stuff. If you just had closed your eyes for a moment and saw her, you may be like, well, was that real or wasn't it real? But when they send us something so specific, where we listen, we sit up straight and we listen, or like we acknowledge. So once, like I said, I acknowledge that. I know that you're here and that's how you passed. And I know that you're not in that space anymore. And I feel you around me. You won't you probably I'll be shocked if you still get that image. But that's the validation that they go. Cheyenne, I got a question for the community here. It kind of scares me to ask, but would you all feel if I'd restart my channel and share my art with everyone here? We'd love to see your art, Miss Cheyenne. I'm planning on doing that soon. I'm currently just figuring out how and what and when and where. You'll sort that out. You'll sort that out. Pure Frog, Purple Roses. It super sounds like we get signs from spirit all the time and really need to trust it. Yes. And that's the biggest thing. So with my mentoring students, most of you know that I teach mentoring. That and there may be a few of them on here to I haven't scrolled up in a bit. But with my mentoring students, that is the biggest piece is the trust, 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 trust. That trust factor is huge, and we do have to rewire how we think, right? Because depending on our experiences, depending on how we were raised, depending on what was involved in all that, there's fear. There may be concern about tapping into that dimension. We may struggle to trust. One of the biggest things that comes up to me from people, not just my mediumship students, but from people, is what if I'm making this up? People say that all the time. What if I'm making this up because I want my loved one to come? And what I say is I say to people, do you this is how I work around it. Do you normally walk around life making crap up? Is that something that you do? Is it because if it is, then maybe you are making it up. If you're walking around making stuff up, but for most of us, we don't walk around making stuff up, right? We don't walk around doing that. So if you got an image, or if you get a feeling, or if you get a smell, just acknowledge it. I know you're here. I know you're here. I know you're here. And if you're not sure who it is, I know you're here. Because it can be the angelics, or it can be an ancestor. So when you get that thought or that feeling, start acknowledging it. It'll crack you wide open into the most amazing, beautiful experiences ever. Um, Usually, if you're making it up, you don't wonder. Absolutely, exactly. But most of us don't walk around creating some kind of story. Like we don't usually do that, right? Like it's not something that you do. That you consciously don't create something, make it up. So, but we do go into how is this possible? What if I'm making this up? What if it's not real? And I often say, if you have a loved one that's popping in, and you don't even have to share it with anybody, you just say thanks for coming. Right? So that's that. I always think I'm making signs up. See, there we go. There was a ladybug that landed on me, and I thought, oh, it's a sign, but then questioned it. It's a sign, right? Just there's so much magic around us, and just acknowledging it. Thanks for the ladybug, and I know that you're a sign, and I can feel that. We don't we get the validate. We want the validation so much. We want to be right so much. Just simply allow it. Just simply allow it. I'm telling you, there's great magic in spirit. I mean, and I think, and when I do get that, like I had to work through a little bit of that myself. What if I'm making it up, and what if I'm crazy, and well, what if I am, is kind of the point that I got to. But so So anyway, just simply work on just acknowledging it, and you will feel softer with it. You will feel more of that knowing, and just kind of tapping in there. You'll just know. Okay. Um, I do have to get going. I've already pushed I push these YouTube lives right to the last minute. It's like, it's like now I gotta run. What does the group need to know collectively? Let's all put our intentions to find out what do we need to know for this week. For this week, what do we need to, or just today? What do we need to know? All right, this is really interesting. Uh, I'm not even sure what this is. It's a type of monkey. Oranguttan. Orangutan. Looks like a baboon to me, or a monkey. To accomplish what you have set out to do, put on your best face and get the job done. Pay close attention to the expressions on the faces of those you deal with, and trust what you see more than what you hear. Ooh, we're talking into that energy bit. Whatever your needs are, do your best to be creative and use the available resources you find in your immediate surroundings. It's best to have more fruit in your diet on a regular basis in order to create a healthier physical balance. Interesting message. To accomplish what you have set out to do, put on your best face and get the job done. Get her done. This has been a great start to our week. I hope you enjoyed spending time with me. Let me see what the calendar is. I think I'm here Wednesday. Let's just double check that. I like to give you a heads up when I'm not going to be here. So, yes, I will be here Wednesday morning. We'll see you Wednesday morning. We'll do a little bit more chat with spirit. We'll see what shifted with the energy. But for now, love, light, blessings, and a spirit guided day. Much love.